Hello Linux fans, Joseph speaking. Today I want to show you how to install Arch Linux in 2019 and maybe also in 2020. Well, you never know, there might be some changes in the Arch Linux installation process. We don't know yet, but for now it should work as I show you. First, we have to go to the Arch Linux webpage to get the newest ISO image. The address is archlinux.org. Here you find some informations about Arch Linux, the latest news. You always should read the latest news. Here you find the wiki, the Arch wiki. You will need the Arch wiki because I can show you the installation process, but after that you have to work on your own, because I don't know what you need and what you prefer. Maybe you don't need some things I show you, maybe you need more than I show you. That's up on you, depending, for example, on your hardware. So if you run into some problems, go to the Arch wiki. It will help you. Go to the forum if you don't find a solution for your problem. Maybe you find some nice and polite people there who are willing to help you. But first, try to find your own way. So let's go to the download page. Here you can find some informations about the newest ISO image. Here the current release, the date, the 1st of December 2019. And here the included kernel 5.3.13. Now you scroll down, here is a list of countries. You are searching for your own country. In my case, it's Germany. Well, why should you choose a server in your country? Because the download is much faster. So I choose, for example, artfiles.org or ecnar.net. Doesn't matter. Now click on your server and you find the ISO image. Here you see this is the ISO image, .iso. 639 megabyte, and here is the release date. You click on that and you will download this ISO image. I always save files in my downloads folder. So if I click on OK, it will be saved in my downloads folder. There you can find it later. Now we have to create a bootable stick with Arch Linux on it. So there are many tools for that. I always prefer Etcher because you can get Etcher for Linux, for Mac OS and for Windows. So it doesn't matter on what operating system you are at the moment. But there are many tools out there which are as good as that. Well, Balena Etcher is very easy to handle. Here you select the image you just downloaded, the Arch Linux ISO, and here you select your drive. Be very careful because all data on the drive will be deleted. Double check if the right stick is selected here. If you are sure that all is right, you click on Flash and the stick with Arch Linux on it will be created. If you use another tool for creating OS images, it's almost the same. Be very careful. Now you have to start the computer from the stick. You plug the stick into a free USB port, and after restarting your computer, the Arch Linux ISO should start. Check the boot order in your BIOS. The stick should be at the very top. If any hard disk is on the first place, the stick will be ignored and it will start the hard disk. Or better said, the system on the hard disk. To check the boot order, you have to go into the BIOS. Please look into the manual of your mainboard to see which key you have to press to come into the BIOS. If everything is alright, you should see this window after booting the stick. I show you the installation on a BIOS system. Now, it's a little bit different to an installation on UEFI systems. Now you can begin to install Arch Linux on your system. So you can boot Arch Linux now. Now we see the booting process of Arch Linux. So, let's begin. The first thing you have to do is to change the keyboard layout. It should match to the country you live in. In my case, it's Germany. So maybe in your case, it's different from that what I show you now. If you live in the States, you have to do nothing because you already have the right keyboard layout. But I have to change that with load keys Latin 1. This is for Germany. Maybe you need FR for France or ES for Spain or something different. Well done. Now we have to check if we are connected to the internet, because we need the internet to download all the files we need for the installation. So I send a ping to a homepage. Let's say archlinux.org. Now we see I am connected. Here I can see the answer, 64 bytes from Apollo archlinux.org. Everything okay. You stop that with Control-C. So here you can see some statistics on the connection. 33 packets transmitted, 33 received, 0% packet loss, and the time elapsed. Now we want to know the name of the network card with the following command: ip link, and here you can see on the second place EMP OS3. Now we have to partition the disk. Partitioning prepares the selected hard disk for the installation of Arch Linux. The space available on the hard disk is divided into different partitions, and these are adapted for the actual installation. I don't show any dual boot system here. I always recommend that beginners should use a separate hard drive for a Linux system. Be very careful what disk you use, because partitioning deletes all files on the hard disk. For partitioning we use cfdisk. We open that with the command cfdisk. Here it is. Now we select the label type. In this case we select DOS, but we also can select GPT. It's a little bit different. For UEFI I would choose GPT. For BIOS, DOS is OK. Now you see the free space here. I install Arch Linux here in a virtual box, so the size of the whole disk is almost 15 gigs. Here you see there is free space because nothing is on the disk at the moment. At the top you can see the internal name of your hard disks. Here disk is dev SDA. Dev means device and SDA is hard disk A. A second hard disk would be called SDB. The third one SDC. Now we know our hard disk is called SDA. You can create as many partitions as you like. Now we do the simple way. We only choose one partition for the system and the home folder and for everything else, and one partition for the swap. We use 2 gigs of RAM for the swap and the rest for the system. We create a new partition now with new. Here you can see the partition size. No, we cannot use 14.8 gigs because that would be all. We need 2 gigs for the swap, so we take 12. G stands for gigs, gigabyte. So this is okay. It's primary. And the partition type is Linux 8.3. That's okay. Now we need the second partition with the arrow key here to free space. New again with enter. And now we have 2.8 gigs left. We use that for swap. And it's primary again. We don't need extended because we have no more than 2 partitions. Right? That's okay. Now we need a type for the second one. We need swap. Now you can see this is SDA2, SDA1 is here. That means this is the first partition on hard disk A, and this is the second partition on hard disk A. Now we can write that. That means we scroll to right here, and now enter. Are you sure you want to write the partition table to disk? Yes, I want to do that. The partition table has been altered. That means we wrote the partition table to the disk. And now we can quit the partition program cfdisk. Okay, syncing disks, all okay. Now we can check if everything went right with LSBLK. LSBLK. Yes, you can see here is SDA, and we have SDA1 with 12 gigs, and we have SDA2 with 2.8 gigs. That's all we have at the moment. That's okay. If you want more partitions, for example, for a separate home folder or something like that, you have SDA3, for example. You can do whatever you want in partitioning. Now we have to create a Linux file system. There are some commands we have to do now. We have to make a file system on the device on SDA1. So the command is mkfs make file system. What file system? We take ext4. That's a default. It's like a standard default file system for Linux. There are other ones, but we now choose ext4. And where on the device SDA1. All right. Enter. It's done. Now we need the swap. We make the swap on SDA2. Make swap, mk swap, where on device SDA2. Yes, setting up swap space version 1. The size is 2.8 gig. All right. Now we have to switch on the swap. Swap on, where device it's the same, SDA2. Done. Now we have to mount the partition we just created to a mount point. So the command is mount, where device SDA1, and the mount point is mount. With LSBLK, we can check if everything went right. LSBLK. So now we have SDA1, you see that here, and it's the mount point is mount, MNT, and SDA2 is a swap. Good. Now we select the mirrors for our installation because it makes a difference from what server you get the packages. So we have to edit the mirror list. But first we have to copy the existing mirror list. So if we make any mistake, we can have a backup of the mirror list as provided. This is a very long command, so pay attention. cp etc pacman d mirror list. I tell you what I do now afterwards. Pacman d mirror list PAK. Well, we have here a mirror list in the folder etc in pacman d, and we just made a backup and here in the same folder. So now we have the backup. It's called Mirrorlist BAK, and now we can edit the mirror list. And now we open the mirror list with a text editor. I take Nano. You can choose any text editor you like, but at the moment Nano is, I think, very simple to use. And we open Etsy, first folder, Pacman D, and now the mirror list. Okay, this is the mirror list. This is the document we just opened. And now we can delete all that's not our country. So in my case, I can delete Ecuador, United States, Taiwan, and here you can see the first German server. So I delete that. You can delete a line with Control K. United States, Taiwan, and here is Germany. I don't delete that. I delete Japan. Here is Germany again. I delete Poland, Luxembourg, Russia, Brazil, France. I don't need that. And here is Germany again. And here's Germany again. So I think that's enough. You understand what I'm doing here. I would delete all other countries than mine. Now I have to save what I've done to the mirror list with Control O. Enter. And now I can exit with Control X. So I'm in the command line again. Now we can install the base packages of Arch Linux. Here we need the command pacstrap. Pacstrap is a script, and now we can tell pacstrap where we want to install it. We install it to the mount point here, mount, and what? We need base, I would say base devel, and it's very new. We need the kernel, it's Linux. We need a text editor, I take Nano. We need Linux firmware, and we need DHC PCD. We need some other small programs, but this is enough to start Linux. So as I said, you have to go to the Arch Wiki and check out what you need here. I need that and maybe a little bit more, but this is enough to start Arch Linux. But maybe it's not enough to do all that you want. So I start the process now with enter. Yeah, everything is working. Now the package database is synchronized. Proceed with installation. Yes. What you see now is everything we need is downloaded first. Here are the packages we need. They are not on the ISO. They are somewhere on the servers. And now we have to wait until pacstrap is ready. while we wait, I can tell you I've written a book about the Arch Linux installation, and it's in the show notes. The link is in the show notes, and it's almost the same that you see here, but also with UEFI installation and some tips and tricks at the end, what to do after installation. Yeah, if you like, check that out. It's on Amazon as ebook and as softcover book. Well, this takes a little while depending on your internet connection, and I think I will pause the video because maybe it's a little bit boring for you to watch this process here. So now we are back in the command line. Now we have to create fstab. That's a short command. Generate fstab. Mount point here. Where? Here. Right, we are done. Now we change root into the new system on mount, on MNT, because now it's installed on our hard disk. Arch, change root, where to MNT. You see? Now we are on our system. Now we have to set a root password. The name for the root is root. And we generate a password with pass WHD. And now we have to create a password. You don't see anything here because it doesn't show what you do here on the keyboard. And you have to retype the new password for your safety. You don't see that. Again, password updated successfully. So we have a password for root. You have to remember that because that's the only way to get into the system as root. So write down this password. You should not be in the system all the time as root. You should add a user. You could add many users as you like. And you can get root privileges with sudo. You add a new user with user add g wheel username. Wheel is the name of a group. You can change the name of the group as you like. M creates a home folder for the new user, and G adds the user to a primary group. Instead of username, you fill in the name you want to use. And now we need a password for the new user. The command again is password WHD, and now the username. New password, you type in the password. Again, you don't see what you're typing. Hit enter, retype the password, and you're done. To get administrator rights for sudo as a user, you have to activate the group wheel or any other group as you like in this sudoers file. We have to open the sudoers file with nano. You know, nano is a text editor. Nano It's in etc sudoers. Here you can see the file. We move here with the arrow key and command to allow members of group wheel to execute any command. Here it is. And command means we delete the hash. That's all. We have to save that. Control O. One moment. Control O. Enter. And now we can exit again with Control X. Now we set the host name again with nano. We open etc and host name. This is empty. Now you can choose a name for your computer as you like. I say Arch. I save that with Control O, enter, and Control X. We leave nano. Now I set the time zone. In my case, yeah, it's Germany. I have to choose Europe and Berlin. Maybe it's different for you. So you have to check what's the right time zone for you. But the command is the same. ln sf, where is that? User share zone info. Now the continent, Europe, and Berlin for Germany. etc local time. Confirm with enter. Okay. We set up our language. We need nano again. Nano. We open the file etc local gen. All right. Now we have to look for our language we want to have. In my case, yes, you know, it's Germany. And now we have to look for Germany. Here you can see some examples. In my case, it's DE. So I scroll down until I find DE. There are several DEs. I need DE because we have, for example, a DE for Switzerland. It's DE CH. But I need that one. I delete the hash. And now I can save that. Enter. And now Control X. And I'm out again. Now I need to configure the locales, the local.conf, and I have to open it again with nano. Nano etc local.conf. So, okay, there is nothing in. I have to type it in for my country. Language is. Now this is what I just said, DE.UTF-8. This is the most important thing here. Now I need that. Collect is C. Not so important, but here again, language is DE DE. If I would come from Switzerland, it would be DECH. And now I can save that. Control O, enter, Control X, and I'm out again. Now I have to set the keyboard layout in vConsole.conf. Again, this is for Germany. I open that again with Nano. So Nano, etc, console conf. So, and now the key map is here, DE again, Latin 1. This is the key map, and now the font, not so important, but I do it anyway. Lat 9W16. You can do that afterwards if you prefer that. Now we save with Control O, enter, Control X. Now we install grub. Pacman as grub. Yes. We need grub to boot our system. So this is grub, and this is different to UEFI installation. Here you can see optional dependencies for grub. For example, the DOS-FS tools, for the EFI boot manager, for grub install EV support, and so on. So we don't need that because we have BIOS. Now the next step is the grub install. Dev SDA. Yeah. No error reported. Sounds good. Now we have to make a grub configuration here. Make config where, not but, boot grub, and the file is called grub.cfg. Done. Okay, that's good. Now we have to install the display server, again with pacman. The command for installing a package in Arch Linux is always pacman s. And we install xorg server and xorg sinit. Yes. Now it's downloading the packages, and after that it's installing the packages. I pause the video. Now another file for keyboard configuration. It's the keyboard conf. Here we open that with Nano again. Nano etc x11 xorg conf d keyboard conf. It's an empty file again. Section input class. Identifier keyboard. that was wrong. I don't need that. This is right. Matches keyboard, yes. The option, maybe you don't need that, but it's okay if it's there. In my case, DE. In your case, maybe FR or ES or US. And option, this is a variant. In this case, no dead keys. You can leave that out if you don't need that. And section. Pardon, there's a mistake here. That's not good. Capital letters here. So is that all right? Because there, yes, I see a mistake. There is a missing T. All right, now we are ready. And again, we have to save that with Control O, you know that now, and enter, and then Control X to exit. Now we need a desktop environment. Well, there are many desktop environments. I will install XFCE now with sudo pacman s XFCE4. And I install all, but you can choose what you like from XFCE. If you, for example, don't like Thunar as a file manager, you can leave a number 3 out. No problem. But I select all. Yes, I want to do that. If you want to have some extra tools for XFCE, you have to install the XFCE for goodies. I don't do that because it costs time, and I want a very lean system, a very small system here, only XFCE as it is with no goodies. So there will be no Whisker menu here if you don't install the XFCE goodies, but you can install the Whisker menu separately if you like that. There is no Ristretto, no Parallel media player, but as I said, I would like a very small system here. So we are ready. Now we need a login manager. And I always choose LightDM here. We have to install that. We have a sudo pacman s LightDM. But we also need the LightDM greeter. DM GTK greeter. And I like the LightDM greeter settings because we can edit LightDM on this way. You don't need that, but I think it's nice to have. But you also can install that afterwards, no problem. So, yes. Well, I'm too fast. Again, and only, yes. So now it's downloading the LightDM and LightDM GTK greeter. and agree to settings. So we are almost done now with the installation of Arch Linux. We have to enable the LightDM service, otherwise LightDM would not work. But other than that, we are ready. So let's check that out if it works afterwards. But first we have to enable that here. System, not too fast. Enable. This will enable the LightDM service. LightDM service. So that's it. Now we have a symlink here. Seems good. Now we are ready and we can exit now. And we can unmount SDA1 with this command umount and what dev SDA1. Now it's unmounted, and now we can reboot. Now let's see what happens. After reboot, the login manager LightDM should start. Here you see your username. In my case, it's username. In your case, it's another name. And now you type in the password for the user. That's my password. Now I can log in and we should see the XFCE desktop at this moment. The first thing we have to do is to enable our network. So we have to open the terminal and we type in system control enable and now DHCPCD. .service. We need a password. That's it. Now our network is enabled. This is the end of part 1 of the Arch Linux tutorial. In part 2 I show you the first steps after the installation. So if you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel, leave a comment and give me a thumb up. I would appreciate that. So, stay tuned. Yours, Joseph.